Well, hey there, everybody, and welcome to our live reveal of Sparkhub 2.0. For anyone who doesn't know me yet, my name is Julie Godshall. I'm the founder and CEO of Sparkhub, and previous to that of the direct sales on demand method, which is kind of a precursor of what we've created now in Sparkhub. We're going to meet the rest of the team soon, including my husband, John. He's the Spark hubby. He's our developer here. He and I are in Madison, Wisconsin. And we also will hear from Trisha, who's part of the Spark Hub team, who is in Oklahoma. So you'll hear from them a little bit later and some other awesome guests we have. But we're so pumped that you're here. This project has been many months in the works. Really, all that had to go into this upgrade, John tells me, was comparable to the work to just building the whole thing from scratch in the first place, as far as just, a lot of the restructuring he had to do to the data and to get things to function, to make way for these new features that we're bringing you today. So it's been a labor of love. And after many months of being like in the R&D space of building it, and I was working on putting together new training and all of this like under the hood stuff, to actually bring it to the world, to get it in front of you is just a really exciting thing. This is what it was all about from the start. I would love for you guys to comment and let us know, are you new to Sparkhub? Some of you may have been here since the start. I saw Janica was in here. I think she joined like on day one a year ago when we launched. Or maybe you're on the other end. Maybe you never heard of Sparkhub until 5 minutes ago, your friend said, hop on this YouTube live with me. So wherever you're at, I'd love to hear from you. And then one just quick housekeeping thing is that there is about a 10-second delay from when I speak to when you're going to hear my voice. And so if any of you, like if you're saying, Julie, your mic cut out, I'm not going to know for 10 seconds. So if anything happens, just know that that's why. But we should be just fine here. So yeah, it's great to see all of you. One totally organized chick. We have a lot of tote ladies from 31. So awesome. And hey, Sherilyn, oh, so good to see you. And yeah, I know you've used Sparkhub before, Sharon. I know so many of your names and faces from over the last year. It's really great to have you all here. All right, so we are gonna kick off with welcoming Connie. Now you might be like, who's Connie? Is this a new team member? I don't think I've shared this publicly, but Connie is you. So this goes back to over a year ago when we were building Sparkhub. John and I would be talking, and we'd be talking about like guest and host and consultant / user / subscriber, the person using Sparkhub. And he would say, so we've got the consultant, we'll call her Connie for short. It was just like our nickname. And it stuck. So like if you were to look at the code, it literally says Connie. Like that is our unit of like subscriber, user is called a Connie. Or when I'm talking on Voxer with Trisha and I'll say, well, I think Connie needs X, Y, and Z. And so it just really stuck. So if I ever say Connie's going to love this or you are Connie, that is why. That is our like kind of unofficial name for all of you. And we're so glad to have you here. We're going to cover here. Let me try to make this screen better for you guys so you can see that better. All right. We're going to cover just where we've already been, because I know some of you have not been using Sparkhub since day one, and you might not be as familiar with just what we do already. And then we'll spend most of our time on these new features. So primarily 3 different areas that are new. We'll talk some about Project Broadcast with Jake. So I'm so thankful he's on the call. He's waiting in the wings to come on a bit later. And just give you some ideas about Project Broadcast, because even though you can use Sparkhub without Project Broadcast, it's so much more powerful. You definitely want to use Project Broadcast and have the full functionality of all that we can do together. I will, of course, give you all the info about Bootcamp. Bootcamp will be happening next week. Our go live is this weekend. We'll give you all the details about what to expect and how to join. And hopefully we'll have some time for Q&A. But we might be answering some questions as we go, because we can see your comments here. And if we miss a question or you didn't have time to ask a question or something comes up later, the easiest way to reach out to us is at the chat icon. So whether you're inside the app or just on our regular website, you'll see a little icon in the corner. And those messages go straight to me, and we'll make sure to field those and get you taken care of. So let's give you kind of an overview of where we've been with Sparkhub, which is really a focus on events. That was kind of like the bread and butter of Sparkhub, and we're going beyond that now, but it starts with the events and what we call the Spark strategy. And when I say events, I mean things even beyond direct sales parties. You're going to hear me talk about parties. I use words like host and order link and order deadline, things like that. But in my view, an event is just a thing where people sign up to participate in the thing, and in return, you provide some content and communication around the thing. Okay, so that's really broad. So we see people using Sparkhub for challenges, for team training, opportunity calls, classes. You might have a promotion like sign up for my week of flash sales, and people sign up and you give them info. There might not even be a live event of any kind, but it's just to communicate with them as they've expressed interest. Even signing up to get updates from you, like a newsletter and regular text updates, you can run that as an event in Sparkhub. So I say that because parties are my primary example. They're tangible. They showcase all the features like the host portal that you might not use for, a week of promos. You might not have a host, but parties give that full understanding of what all we can do. But I know some of you might not even be with a party plan business, and or you might not run a lot of parties, things like that. But chances are you have something that will use this event structure and be able to make use of these powerful tools. So I just wanted to give that little primer as we think about events. And if you're an experienced Sparkhubber, you can comment in the chat. As I go through these letters, you probably have it memorized by now of what these letters mean with our Spark strategy. So we start with the letter S of a sign up page. So just a simple way for people to sign up, express interest, raise their hand that they want to be part of the thing. In the case of a direct sales party, this is what your host would send to their friends and where the friends would go to RSVP. So that's something we built into Sparkhub to interact with all the other tools in the works. And then P is the party page. This is where we have that connection to direct sales on demand. So if some of you are from the DSOD world, you know me from that space, we did the party page in a Canva website, which you can still do, but now I prefer Project Broadcast landing pages because they can be souped up with a lot of really cool Sparkhub code to really personalize them to your event. But the party page is just the central hub for the guests. Even if you're going to gather in person or on Zoom or whatever it is, give them a page where they can see the logistics. They understand, where's my order link? When's the order deadline? Where do I have to be and when? Some of those logistics, as well as some engaging content. It might be a lot of content, like an on-demand party where you're giving a whole presentation. It might just be a little teaser, anything in between. But a party page is a really powerful way to engage with your guests from the second they sign up and to keep them informed. And then A is for authentic and automated messaging. I don't believe authentic and automated are at odds. If you don't believe me, listen to my podcast yesterday with Rachel Perry, the Direct Sellers podcast. We talked about that very topic. And I'm sure Jake is nodding along because automation opens the gateway for some really authentic connections. And so I really believe that this is not just for a text party. I think every event you have should have at least a couple of texts go out to your guests so that you're engaging with them, keeping them informed, and it's going to have better success than just putting up a Facebook post and hoping they see it. So maybe you are using a Facebook party, but you can be texting as well to have more reliability in reaching your guests. And R is the resources for your hosts. So we provide a host portal with tools like invitation tools. They have their checklist. They can see the guest list right there. They have everything at their fingertips that you set up, but then Sparkhub creates that portal for you for every single event. And then K is the key information for you, wanting you to have everything you need at your fingertips. So that's your to-dos, your guest list, everything in one spot. And so the Spark strategy is really aimed at strengthening any kind of event, no matter what the event is about, no matter if you have other platforms in the mix like Zoom or Squee or Facebook or in-person gathering. It is providing that foundational strategy for every type of an event. So that's where we've been. And Sparkhub 1.0 was that events focus with, I would say, in hindsight, compared to where we are now, introductory automation of your page content and of your texting strategy. it was powerful, but we knew that we could push this further. And so we started dreaming about what we could do that could push this even further for you. So Sparkhub 2.0 brings in improvements on the events around more automation and more creative control, but also expanding outside of events. So now we are bringing in ways to manage your customer order follow-ups and ways to have a centralized task list so that you can view your tasks related to your parties and related to individual customers all in one spot. And so let's go ahead and see what is new. We're going to start with the improvements to the event, since that is what you may already be familiar with. And we will begin with these pages. We talked about the sign up page and the party page. So with Sparkhub, since day one, we've provided the sign up page, and it got all the content on the page you needed. It automatically had the event name, one photo of your choice. It featured your host. It had your description. It had your form. But I know you guys. I know how much you love creative control. I know that you might not want that font. You might not want a white background. You might not want to use the phrase hosted by. You might use a different phrase. And so some of these things that were a little rigid, we wanted to be able to free up for you and help you to really create what you want, with us then plugging in the event info and the form that you need. And then the party page was a bit more advanced because it was hosted on a project broadcast landing page, if you chose. And then that PBLP, I'm going to say PBLP, okay? Because I say project broadcast landing page 100 times and it takes up a lot of time. So your PBLP is automated with all this Sparkhub code. So for instance, it could feature your host. But again, it said, thank you, Jane, for being our fabulous host. But if you don't love the word fabulous, or you don't use the word host, or your page is in Spanish, or any other things, you were kind of out of luck. You had this rigid wording. And I thought, well, what if she can just pop in the name Jane anywhere on her page she wants to, and really take all these building blocks we have, but have total flexibility in creating a page that's fully customized for the event with no editing required. So that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to power up your event pages by, for one thing, putting your sign up page also in a PBLP, so you have full creative control, and giving more creative control to both pages, the sign up page and the party page. So I'm going to play for you guys a quick video that describes this.
You run your events in person, on Facebook, on Zoom, on demand, or anything else, every event should have two eye-catching pages that draw in your guests. The first is a sign-up page where potential guests can learn about your event, sign up, and even get enrolled in text messages automatically. The second is what we call a party page, which is the guest's central hub. It contains logistical info so they know exactly how to participate, and other content so they know how what you offer can serve them. With Sparkhub, you can create these pages for every event with ease. Our approach is to let you leverage the creative flexibility of project broadcast landing pages, then sprinkle in a bit of Sparkhub magic. The result? Beautiful pages that are fully customized to your event every time, with no editing required on your part. How do we do it? The key is our signature 5-minute setup. You enter some basic information about your event into Sparkhub, such as host info, a description for your sign-up page, an order link, and important dates that guests need to know about. Meanwhile, your host gets to add their own note and even a selfie in Sparkhub's host portal. Then, Sparkhub automatically sprinkles all of this great info throughout your sign-up page and your party page. We display the important dates in each guest's own time zone, along with a link to add to their calendar. We make sure your page is customized with the host name, order link, and more. We even customize the page with the guest's name for an added personal touch. This is personalization and connection without the overwhelm. This is Sparkhub.
I forgot I was muted there. All right, so just to kind of think through that and respond to that, I want to bring up on stage a couple of our cheerleaders. Let me get to the right window here. I have a lot going on my screen. Where are we? Here. First though, did you notice something else on those pages or on the page that you used when you signed up for this call? So they have really amazing fonts on them, right? Fonts that you might be like, where did you get that? I don't have that on my Project Broadcast landing pages. So Project Broadcast has fonts built in for you. I think last time I looked, it was like 27 fonts. So they have a couple of script fonts and some different, body fonts that you can put on your page. But like I said, like I know you guys, I know how much you love having so much creative control over what you do. So we wanted to bring in 1,500 fonts for you. So these come from Google Fonts, which through Sparkhub, you can plug into your Project Broadcast landing page to give you a lot of really great creative choices on those pages. So you can have some different headers and things on your page in different fonts. So that is just part of all the new magic we've brought in for your new pages. So I want to hand this off now to a portion of our cheer squad. So you're going to see more of our cheerleaders next week. These are some awesome Sparkhub users. Some of them were involved in the beta test that we ran a few weeks ago. And they are really excited to invite others into our boot camp next week as we learn Sparkhub 2.0. And on the call right now, I want to bring on stage for you. We've got Trisha and we've got, where is she? Diane. Yay. Hey, ladies. So I'm going to kind of hand it off to you. I would love for each of you to just introduce yourself and share kind of who you are and what drew you to Sparkhub in the first place, and kind of respond to these new changes to our pages.
Awesome. I am just so excited that Sparkhub 2.0 is finally here. We've been anticipating this for so long. I have been working with Julie since the beginning, whenever this brilliant idea for Sparkhub was being birthed. And I have had the privilege of testing it in every stage along the way. And it's already, I'm going to go ahead and say, revolutionized the way that I work. This is big word worthy, because she's right. Like, you want authenticity, but you have to, if you're going to have sustainability in your business and your home life and just making it work, automation is your friend, because there is so much that we can automate, that automation can do it so much better than I could, with that authenticity still built in. And so, I've already loved Sparkhub for my business, and some of these 2.0 features we kind of dreamed about since the beginning, and now it's finally here. Some we discovered that was going to be possible along the way, and just as a user of Sparkhub, I'm pretty giddy about all of this. I don't know if you know anything about me. My name is Trisha Hiddleston, and I'm living in Oklahoma, so I'm not close to Julie, but we talk all the time, and I am available all the time also to answer your questions and to work through this with you. I'm really excited about what we've got coming. And Diane's been, I think, loving Sparkhub too. Tell us how about you and what your favorite things about Sparkhub already?
Sure. So my name is Diane Partee, and I'm with Arbonne, and you can probably see the little wrinkles around my face a little bit. I've been doing Arbonne for about 20 years, started with when phones were on the wall, and did mainly in-person events. So when I stumbled across Sparkhub, it was my answer to, again, being that authenticity, but I love the creativeness. I love the convenience and simplicity of having all the links in the landing pages. I love the questionnaire at the beginning, that I could get to know my clients before I met them and be able to serve their needs better. And I'm really super excited about the 2.0, the follow-up, and the creativeness. Just everything about this program. She's just done so much thought behind the scenes, and I think everyone will be really happy when they start using it. And it is the simplicity of it's almost like magic, like how does it do that? It bounces back and forth with Project Broadcast and Sparkhub, and it's wonderful when it all works, and it does.
It does. Magic is a good word for it. I feel that way all the time. Julie will tell me what they're dreaming, and then John just makes it happen. And I'm like, what is this magic that I just get to use it? I didn't mention that I'm with Noonday Collection, and I'm actively working my business, all the time. And so I feel very lucky that I get to test this stuff out, early on. But it's like just a little magic button. And I don't even need to know how it works. I'm just going to enjoy it. So.
I love when she says it sprinkles in a little Sparkhub. It's Sparkhub magic.
It is for sure. Well, and we haven't even revealed all of the new features yet. And so there's more wow factor to come. But, I think that you guys are going to all feel very excited whenever you see what Sparkhub 2.0 can do.
Yay. Awesome. Well, we'll hear from you ladies in a few minutes. I'll go ahead and show the next portion of how we're enhancing our events. So let me add this back. So as I said, the cheer squad. So our top row there is Trisha and Diane, who you just heard from. We also have Ebony and Denise and Michelle and Marie. And so they are going to be kind of in our group next week, cheering you on. A couple of them are going to do live calls with Trisha, like live strategy chats that you can join as part of boot camp. So you'll be hearing more from them in the coming days. All right, so we talked about pages, but what about these other parts? We have the text messaging, the host portal, the key information to keep you organized. And we've had all of that in the past. The guest messaging was not as customizable as we wanted. We wanted to give you so much more control. For instance, being able to pop the host name into any text you want to, or pop the order link in, whatever it is. And we also wanted to build in host coaching so that you can have your host messaging plan and your guest messaging plan all built in. And then you can, edit that from one event to the next with ease. And also we've always had to-dos, but they weren't dated. They didn't allow you to put notes and some other enhancements we wanted there. And we've always had this concept of key dates, which are the dates that your guests need to know about that we put on your party page with add to calendar link. It's in the right time zone. All of these things are built in. And so at 2.0, we realized, text messaging, to-dos, key dates, these are all dated things. And instead of having them all kind of separate, we wanted to bring them all together into what we're introducing as the event timeline, and having them all fall into that category is really, really powerful. So we're bringing in more messaging options, including your host messaging, enhancements to those to-dos, more customized guest messaging, even customizing which guest things go to based on if they've ordered. And so also centralizing your to-do list. So your to-dos, whether it's related to a specific customer or an event, it's all in one spot. So I'm going to show you our little explainer about the event timeline.
Direct sales events have a lot of moving parts. You want to coach your hosts well with useful communication and a simple to-do list. You want to serve your guests well by providing key information like dates and links, and by sending texts that inform, engage, and remind. And you want to equip yourself well with your own to-dos, organized into a centralized task list. At Sparkhub, we help you build an event timeline to automate and scale your events regardless of what styles you run. The timeline houses everything that has a date associated with it, so you can craft your game plan and outsource as much of it as possible to automation. How does this work? Well, let's say you're planning a Zoom party for April 30th. Your event will have certain key dates, automated texts sent by Sparkhub via Project Broadcast, and manual to-dos for you and your host. In Sparkhub's timeline, you'll build in key dates, such as the Zoom call and an order deadline. Next, you can add some automated text for your guests, like a welcome text to go out right when they sign up, and scheduled tips or reminders. These texts can even include Sparkhub dynamic fields to reference the host name, order link, and more. You can even make sure your order reminders target only those guests who haven't yet placed an order. Then, you can build into your timeline your host coaching. This includes dated to-dos and text messages to your host. Finally, you'll fill out your plan by capturing your own manual to-dos. You now have a unified timeline view of everything you've planned, but where does all this great information go? First off, your guests can view key dates on your event's party page and/or sign-up page. The information is automatically in their own time zone, and they can add the info to their calendar right there. Guests will also get all of your texts right on time thanks to Sparkhub and Project Broadcast automation, while you get to relax. Meanwhile, your host will also get your host coaching texts automatically and can access their interactive to-do list and key dates right in Sparkhub's powerful host portal, again, while you relax. All you have to do is engage organically via text and handle your manual to-dos, which appear on your centralized task list in Sparkhub. That list is where you can manage all of your tasks related to all of your events and your customer follow-ups. As you can see, we execute your plan for you so that everyone, your guests, your hosts, and you, get the exact support they need for a great event. And here's the best part of the timeline. It is duplicatable from one event to the next and can be shared with other Sparkhub users. Once you build a timeline that you love for your Zoom event, chances are you or your teammates want to run the same game plan for the next Zoom event. All you have to do is clone the original event in Sparkhub and update one date field. Then, every other date in the timeline magically updates accordingly relative to the new event date. And just think, our timeline feature can also support other party styles, or events like promotions, team training, challenges, you name it. So the question is this: do you want to continue handling all those event logistics yourself? Or are you ready to get them off your mind and into a trusted system to automate, streamline, and scale your business? Let Sparkhub manage your event logistics for you so you can focus on what you do best: engaging with and serving your customers and hosts. This gives you all the detailed control with none of the overwhelm. This is Sparkhub.
You're muted.
Yep, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring you guys back on to see if there are any thoughts you have related to the event timeline specifically.
I just wanted to say that magic word scale. Love that. And it's with being able to clone the events and just again, that magic, how everything updates with the dates. It's just going to really simplify our life and be able to allow us to serve our clients that much more, do what we do best, talking and seeing the people.
I know when I'm watching that, I'm just like a sigh of relief of like, oh, good. I don't have to keep all of that information in my brain or in my scattered, notes here and my planner here and, even reminders on my phone. It's all right there. And most of it, I don't even have to worry about because it's just going to happen. And so it's just such a relief. I'm like, everyone is going to get the information that they need. And it's not all on me to remember it on top of all the other things that I'm trying to remember. It just feels like now I can do this. Now I can scale this. I can do more than one, party at once, or I can make sure that I'm doing it well because I want to do it with excellence. It's very exciting to have it all there in one place, and to realize that, I only actually have to manually do a couple of those tasks because I can just clone it from the last time and it'll just happen. It's that magic button, that easy button that I'm really excited about. So it's just, I don't know about you guys, but it's pretty thrilling.
Agree.
It was really fun to just conceptualize too. I think Trisha and I talked a long time ago about wouldn't it be cool if there were you had your whole plan of your to-dos, and then you can just update them all to new dates.
Mm-hmm.
And what if you had your key dates of like, we're gathering on Zoom, and then 3 days later there's an order deadline, and you can update that all. And then with your text, you can update all of them at once. And it was like, oh, let's just put it all together into this whole new timeline. So that was really fun to like see that through, and for John to make it happen.
Mm-hmm. It's just time consuming. It's like, I can do that. I can take my last plan and like update it manually and think, okay, now I don't have to think through, when do I want to do this? Is it 2 days before? Is it 3 days before? Like, you've thought through a lot of it, but there's still that tedious manual task of transferring that to your next event. That's just time consuming, and it doesn't require my, the parts of my brain that, like the creative part or the connecting part, any of that, that's really human. It's just time consuming. And so not having to do that just frees up so much brain space, but also time. And that's what we need. It's really
duplicatable,
so burn out,
Mm-hmm.
like that tedious stuff is what makes people go, I'm too tired, I'm burnt out. And I feel like this saves me from getting exhausted from the mundane and keeps me excited about doing the work instead of dreading some of the work,
Yeah, I was going to say duplicatable too with new consultants, as far as teaching them the timeline, but they can clone your events, and then everyone is on the same page with how many days after to check in for an order, and so on and so forth.
So easy to share too. That's great. It's helpful for coaching your team or helping your team along the way. And so very, very needed, I think, in the direct sales space.
Great.
Wonderful. Well, thank you both. We'll see you in a few minutes. I'm going to hop into our last feature, which is probably the most anticipated one, which is customer order follow-ups, and related to that, the task management side of things. So people have been asking me about customer order follow-ups since at least last summer. So if any of you were using AMI, which was a direct sales tool a lot of people use at a lot of different companies, and when they went out of business last summer, people were like, is this something like Sparkhub might step into this space? There's a lot you can do with customer order follow-up in Project Broadcast, of course, already. But there were some specific things around, like when I log an order and I want to do these, various things, and I want to customize the message with what they ordered and all that kind of stuff. We wanted to bring some of that into Sparkhub. So our goal was not to create like everything Amy had, but we wanted to bring an element of customer order follow-up and like relating to tasks to your contacts. And I think that since we also are running our events from Sparkhub, that interaction between the event and the order is really powerful and not something you're going to find in most tools. So really, whether an order is part of an event or not, you can log it in Sparkhub and initiate a powerful follow-up process that is automated but fully customizable to every order. So let me pull up that video for you guys right now.
Owner, order follow-up is one of the most important things you can do to nurture your relationship with your customers. But without the right system in place, even the most well-intentioned plans can fall through the cracks. Your customers deserve consistent care that won't be sabotaged when you have a busy day. And you deserve to outsource the details into a system to free up your time and your mental energy. This is where Sparkhub comes in. With Sparkhub, you can craft your signature follow-up process in your settings. It can contain a series of steps like sending a templated message through Project Broadcast, adding a tag or note to the contact, or creating a to-do for your future self. When you log an order to a contact, Sparkhub will pull up your plan for you to review, edit if needed, and set in motion. Then, your messages are scheduled, your contact's info is updated, and your manual follow-up steps are on your to-do list for later, which means you can move on with your day. In other words, when it comes to providing excellent customer care, you bring all the authenticity with none of the overwhelm. This is working smarter. This is Sparkhub.
All right. I remembered to unmute myself, you guys. Aren't you proud of me? All right. So, Trisha, Diane, any thoughts about the follow-up or just any final thoughts about boot camp and joining us next week?
I was just going to say, follow up. We always say the fortune's in the follow up. And if that falls between the crack, that's huge.
Mhm.
So with this built in, I think it's going to make a huge difference. And thank you so much for creating all this. And then with the boot camp, it'll be step by step in bite-sized pieces, so everybody can understand all the aspects. And I find the best thing is, watch, but then watch and do, and you will find it easier to remember and to use as you watch and do. And I'm thrilled and so happy to be here. Thank you, Julie.
Yeah, it's like any tool. The first time you use it, it feels like, learning a foreign language, and then you start doing it. And you're like, oh, I see how this all fits together. And by the time you've done probably even one practice event, it just makes sense. It's very intuitive. And Julie is an expert teacher. And I say that because I've gone through many of her courses, and she has a way of breaking it down and presenting the information that's very easy to just digest and consume, where she can take something that feels like overwhelming because there's a lot of features here, and make it where you can, step by step, just each lesson, and just like Diane said, watch, do. And it's all broken down into very small bite-sized pieces. So you can watch, do, take a break for, what you need to do in your life. Watch, do, take another big break, and it will all come together. And it's not even a huge time investment to get through all the training anyway. Boot camp is going to make it a lot easier. And it's so worth it, because the time you're going to get back and the freedom you're going to feel is just so worth that initial, okay, I just need to I'm comfortable in what I'm doing, but I just need to get a little uncomfortable so that it can be so much better. I know we actually had some questions about follow-up because, like Diane said, that's where it's at. And I feel like that's the easiest place to let your, not kind of fall down on. Like, you do all this, run the show, you present all the information, and then it's hard to remember to follow up or know how to follow up. It feels like once the event is over, life picks up again. So having the follow-up automated, but also in a way that you get to review it and say, is this really exactly how I want to follow up with this person? Is there something different about this order that I need to make sure that they know, so that they don't just get something canned and it doesn't actually apply to their order or to that person? It's just, it feels like another sigh of relief, where I'm like, this is going to happen. And someone actually was asking about stats too, which are really hard to obtain when it would be relying on someone individually saying, here's my numbers. Personally, I feel like my shows are successful for sure. And if they are more, they're definitely at least as successful or more than just like a traditional, like how I was doing it before. It's been a long time since I've had a show without using Sparkhub, so it's hard to remember. But the one stat that I know without any doubt is huge for me is the amount of time and effort that I put into a show. So if I can get the same result with half of the effort from me, and I can do 2 of those shows or 3, or even just know that I have more time for my family, I know I'm getting that value there. And I know that I'm not losing any effectiveness in the show, at least. You're still relying on people engaging, and you're still relying on them taking action to make that order. There's still a lot of variability just in who's actually viewing your content, but that you can at least say, I'm doing my part. They're getting quality, presentation, they're getting, consistent follow-up, and, we can't control all the variables of other people, but I know that it's affecting me so positively to not have to put nearly as much effort into it, and know that my shows are still very good, probably on average with, and sometimes better than before. But it's really hard to get actual stats that aren't anecdotal because we don't have access to everyone's numbers, and it's hard to get that. But altogether, I feel like everything is covered. Just everything is covered. All the things that we struggle with to stay consistent on. And there will be more features that come in Sparkhub, but I feel like this covers all the things, all the pain points whenever you're trying to run your business and you're like, oh my gosh, this is just, so tedious or so hard or so time consuming. In the training also, and in this community, you're going to find a lot of gold nuggets that don't have anything to do with the technology, but it's just the way that we share. This is how I coach my host. This is how I follow up with my customers, because there's still the words to say and how we do it and when we do it. And there's a lot of sharing and a lot of brainstorming. And so there's benefits to be had outside of just the automation of it and the pushing the buttons and making it all work. You're going to find that you're getting coached and counseled and getting good ideas on like, what do we say? What do I want to say? What do I want to put on my page? That kind of thing also just kind of comes with the whole package. And I love putting my head together with other direct sellers and say, what's working right now? Because it changes all the time. And so I love the community. And that's something else that Sparkhub provides, is this community of direct sellers that sometimes, since it's a crossover with several different companies, you're going to get ideas you wouldn't have had just interacting with the direct sellers in your company. So that's another little cherry on top of what we've got here. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I agree. Before this event, we were doing some brainstorming, and I had no idea that you could create a questionnaire that you could use for vendor events. And so that just came out of brainstorming for this. So definitely the community is really helpful. And then I was just going to say, also in using this program, it's going to give you more confidence. You do when you're more confident of what you're doing. And again, once you get it set up, it's going to be just a fine-tuned machine, and you're going to increase your activity, which is going to increase your income because you're doing more because you're confident in what you're providing. So.
Wonderful. Well, thank you both so much for sharing some of those thoughts. And I think probably some things that are on people's mind as they're watching now or catching the replay as well. So thanks for that. And we'll be seeing more of you next week at boot camp.
Yes.
Which I will share about shortly. But for now, let's see, I want to return here and get into some more detail about Project Broadcast. So just to clarify exactly how Sparkhub interacts with Project Broadcast, what is our role, why do we exist on top of Project Broadcast? And I will bring on Jake shortly to share with you some of his thoughts. But here's kind of how I see it. So Project Broadcast has all these features. This is just 3 of them. But the 3 that really come to mind when it comes to Sparkhub are, you've got your contact management. So it's like your Rolodex of here are all my contacts. I have notes on them, things like that. You have your landing page builder. And of course, you have the texting, and that part is just on the paid plans. And so you have all that in Project Broadcast, and so much automation and possibility built in with Project Broadcast alone. But we wanted to come along to add, for one thing, a layer of event management, including highly customizable text messaging. So for instance, we'll pop in your host name. You don't have to edit anything in Project Broadcast, like clone a campaign and change out information in that campaign. We will pop that in for you. You can build in your host coaching and your resources right into that portal, including the to-do list for your host. We also manage that sign-up process for people on the front end. So they provide all their info. They get popped into your Project Broadcast account. You can start interacting right away. And automation of your page content. And then we also wanted to add in the customer relationship management. So for your follow-ups, for instance, you have texting as well as the to-dos for any of your Project Broadcast contacts. And also bringing that centralized to-do list, which again, you can't get from a tool that's only doing events or customer relationship management. By doing both in one tool, you can open up your to-do list and see, okay, today I have this task related to party number 1. I'm going to do this for party number 2, and I'm going to follow up with these 2 customers. It's all in one place for you. So that's kind of why we exist, why we wanted to build what we've built. And so I invited Jake to be here. So a lot of you may know him as the founder and CEO of Project Broadcast. And so I'm going to add him up here. Let's just get the 2 of us here. Hey, Jake. So I got to say, too, first of all, Jake has been a huge encouragement to me because he's been like, software startup years ago for him. And so just really encouraging to me in this space as John and I have been building this. And I have been so confident in all that Project Broadcast does and in Jake's leadership that I was like, I'm going all in on building something that helps people leverage and make even more use of Project Broadcast. So thanks for all of that, Jake. And I didn't know if you had anything you wanted to kind of share with people. And actually, everyone can kind of comment how much you use Project Broadcast. We might have people all over the map here. So,
well, first I'll say it's really cool to see Sparkhub kind of continue to mature. It's pretty cool. I remember the first time you demoed it to me, I was like, wow, this is actually really neat. So I think it's a cool product, and it's cool to see it kind of continue to mature. And, we've had our kind of entrepreneurial conversations on the side of growing, a software-based business. So those have been fun. If you're a Project Broadcast user, which I'm assuming you are if you're using Sparkhub because they integrate so nicely together, we've got some cool stuff coming. Julie, I don't know have you seen our new beta yet?
Yeah.
You have seen the beta. So
yes, I've been in there.
We will be launching our new Project Broadcast UI next week, actually, to all of our users. And we'll run the old UI and the new UI in parallel for probably 3 or 4 weeks before we, I keep saying kill the old UI, but I'll be
sunset.
Sunset. Thank you. Sunset the old UI. Our mobile app's also going to get updated with all the new UI. And then immediately following that work, we're starting on email finally. We just, I know. And what's really cool about email is that the landing page builder that everyone's familiar with is actually how you'll build your emails too. So you build nice, rich emails. So it'll be cool to see what you guys do with your Sparkhub platform, because since we're using the same kind of builder that we do for landing pages, you'll be able to do some really neat stuff on the Sparkhub side for emails. So we'll make
John,
sure.
Are you listening? I'm going to have ideas for you.
I was going to say, we'll make sure you and John get kind of a preview of the email system when that gets started. We literally had a meeting on it today to start kicking that process off. It's been delayed, full transparency. We decided to do our redesign last September, I think. It's taken way longer than we had expected. We went down the path of not just redesigning the product, but completely rebuilding our mobile UI and web UI on a new technology that'll help us move faster and build more features for you guys going forward. But as you can imagine, Project Broadcast is, 5.5 years old. Actually, it's more like 6 years old if you count the initial development time. So rebuilding all that functionality into, rebuilding it all basically is a massive amount of work. So we're excited. Cool stuff coming. Emails coming, enhanced voices coming. So you have like your own actual voicemail with greetings and stuff in Project Broadcast. And we've got some great stuff on the roadmap for this year. We got to get over the hump of the redesign. And then once the redesign is done, that's going to give us a lot of runway to get back to doing more frequent releases with actual product features. Where we've been so heads down on this redesign for the last really 6 months. So I'm excited to get back to building features, honestly.
Yeah, the more fun stuff, not just the under the hood infrastructure.
Yeah, and I've been playing around with just on this. I don't know how this is going to get built into the product, but I've recently been playing around with some ChatGPT AI stuff on, like, you craft a message and then you ask Project Broadcast to make it friendlier or less salesy or more formal, or maybe someday that will get into the messaging side. It's already a part of our landing page.
I saw.
But yeah, a lot of cool stuff coming. I just, right now I'm so focused on getting the redesign out to everyone. I love the new look and feel. It will feel very similar for everyone, but it's organized much better. But we think the transition from the current UI to the new UI is going to be a pretty smooth one for most people. So
this does mean that anyone watching my screen tutorials next week, they are already going to look outdated, but that's okay. They'll find what they need. It's easy to find your way around, so it'll be all good.
Well, you can work on using beta to re-record those.
I did, but some of them were filmed weeks ago. So.
Oh, yeah. So it might be a little dated. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's easy to find your way around. Are there any thoughts you would give to someone who maybe is kind of new to text marketing at all? If they're like, well, I have social, I have email, do I need to be texting, or what to expect around that?
Yeah. I mean, so I usually do this little fun, not really game with people, but it's just like real world. I literally tell people to get their phone out and they look at their phone, and you got all these different ways to communicate with people. You got email, voicemail, texting, messenger, WhatsApp, whatever, right? There's all these different ways to communicate with people. And on all of those apps, there's typically a badge, and the badge represents the number of unread messages in each of those platforms. So I always play this fun game about asking people, what's their unread badge count on email? And, the answers are always large. I think the largest I've ever seen outside of my wife, she did have 500,000 unread email messages a few years ago. But I have seen someone have 200,000 unread emails in a Project Broadcast Zoom that we did one time. Mm-hmm. And then I asked them the same question: what's the badge on your texting app on your phone? And it's not necessarily 0 for everyone, but it is considerably lower than email. Mm-hmm. And even nowadays, it's actually typically quite smaller than even Facebook Messenger, or I guess Messenger it's called now. And that's mainly showing you that, like, it's just a regular person on your normal daily walk of life. You read text messages and you respond to them. The badge is an indicator of that, right? If your badge for texting is 3 and your badge for email is 3,000, you pay more attention to your text than you do your email, right? And when you look at read rates, and there's data you can Google. If you look for like email read rates, the data may vary, but email has 15-ish% read rate. Texting has a 98% read rate.
Wow.
And it's something like 96% of text messages are read within the first 2 minutes of delivery. So not only is the read rate extremely high, text messages are read very close to the time they're received by the recipient. And we look at all of that and we say, man, as a channel for communication, it's a fantastic channel for communication. Messages get read, they get responded to. There's very low friction in conversation. I can't respond to an email with a heart emoji.
Yeah.
In 30 years of using email, I've never responded with just a thumbs up emoji on an email, right? There's a higher level of friction to the conversation versus when you're texting. It's perfectly acceptable to respond with a thumbs up or a heart or an LOL. It's much more conversational, which is what we want, because we want to build relationship with people. And we think texting is a great channel for doing that. And when you take that idea and then you add systems on top of it, like Project Broadcast and Sparkhub, well, now you're leveraging highly read and conversational channel, so your customers are on that channel, and you're using these systems and tools to actually, take advantage of that communication channel. So we get emails literally every day from users on how Project Broadcast helps them have higher sales, better customer follow-up. They don't feel like people are falling through the cracks. Like, the list just goes on and on. Yeah. So, I mean, we're biased on our side, but I think everyone should be using Project Broadcast.
Yeah. And I think everyone should be using text for every event too, because I hear people say like a text party as opposed to other types of parties.
Yeah.
And I feel like, no, every party should have texting. Like, yeah, just because you're gathering in person, why not text people? Because the people who are coming in person, you don't need to wait to meet them and to say hi and make sure they know what to do and where to be. And what about the people who can't come? Why just have your host send them a shopping link where they never actually meet you or interact with you, or have that open doorway to you to know they can ask you questions?
Absolutely.
And one thing I found too is sometimes, I'll send out texts via Project Broadcast. I don't necessarily have 90% of people responding back to me, and that's okay. Like, they're still seeing it and they know that they can reach out to me. They know the door is open, and that matters a lot more than necessarily seeing that response from them. So it's certainly higher than email, but even when people don't interact back to you, it is still effective. It is still being seen and is showcasing to them your personality and your service as well.
And we are big proponents of just, attacking communication for multiple fronts, right? Like some people, for example, aren't on Facebook. So if you do all of your messaging via Facebook, guess what? You're missing people. If you do all of it via email, people don't read them. You're missing people. If you do it all through just Insta, you're missing people.
Yeah.
So you have to have kind of this, omni-channel approach to communication, not even for existing customers, but even for prospecting. You need to be omni-channel. Literally recently we were asked by some of our customers, well, if you're always kind of dogging email, which we kind of are, why are you building email? And it's simple. It's some people don't text, some people do email. And if you're sending a text and an email, guess what? You're likely to just reach more people. So
even better.
While we think texting is more effective with higher read rates, email will catch people that aren't checking their text or responding to it. And, as we continue to add even more channels, it's just about creating that like multi-channel, omni-channel approach to make sure your messaging is getting out to your customers.
Absolutely. I love that. And I'm excited for the features. And then as they're made available to Sparkhub via the API, to where we can initiate the email to the customer on Connie's behalf and things like that. That's going to be amazing.
This is something really for you and John, but the other project we're kicking off is our V2 API. And when we first built our API, we built it intentionally lean. And I've talked to John about this, right? Where
API, sorry, I don't know if everyone knows that term. That's basically what lets two pieces of software talk to each other. So when you join Sparkhub, you put in this code from Project Broadcast that gives Sparkhub permission to send text on your behalf, for instance.
So our V2 of that API is going to allow you to access most of the functionality in Project Broadcast. Whereas today it's very lean, right? You got contact, sending message, but in the future, you'll be able to literally manage content and, create messages. You'll get alerts when incoming messages come in. So if you want to have like your own chat in Sparkhub, you could have that in the future.
Okay.
We're starting that work soon. That will be a pretty large project, but it'll be in the works really soon. Probably within the next month, we'll start on that project.
It's very exciting for us and for all the Connies in turn.
Exactly. That'll help Connie because you'll be able to add a lot more stuff to Sparkhub when you have access to those APIs.
Exciting. All right. So great things already in the works and great things to come. So thank you, Jake. And I know that, everyone can reach out to Jake and his team for support on their end as well. They have some really great education. And one thing I'll mention too is with our bootcamp resources for next week, there's a workbook there. And on each day of bootcamp, I have a little box on the workbook that's like, hey, if you're new to Project Broadcast, do these things. Because there's a lot of Project Broadcast training. You don't necessarily need all of it right from the get-go, at least to understand Sparkhub. So I don't want people to feel like, oh, I'm learning two tools at once and I have to like sift through it. So I wanted to sift through that for Connie. So if any of you are like, I'm going to be new to Project Broadcast, how do I learn this? I'm going to try to guide that so that you get just what you need each day to follow along with how to use Project Broadcast with Sparkhub. So they have excellent training at Project Broadcast. You guys have done a lot of improvements like the last couple of years, even with the training, the support. It's been very impressive. So thanks for coming on with us today, Jake. I really appreciate it and all that you guys are building. And with that, I want to give you just an idea of what to expect. So here's what is coming up in the coming days. And let me see if John's ready to hop on with me. Can I get a thumbs up, John? Okay. So you guys can meet John, our engineer behind the scenes. So this is my Spark hubby is what I call him. He's downstairs from me right now. Say, hey, John. And so we're going live this weekend. So John, tell them about our exciting date we have going on Friday night.
Yeah. So the main thing this is going to entail, so a lot of the new features have much simpler analogs in the existing site right now. So you have your checklist, but it's not dated, no notes, no follow up. Your guests are, so obviously your events in flight, they have whatever guests have already signed up. We want to move that over to the new contact system so it can integrate better and so on and so forth. So There is a process that I'm going to need to do to take all of the existing events and turn them into the new data structures. I'm talking about how to do this. I'm going to want to bring the site down, hopefully only for a few minutes, assuming this all runs as expected, and the dry runs so far have borne that out. So Friday night, site will briefly go down sometime in the middle of the night. I will do various things to shuffle a bunch of data around. The site will come back up, and then all your events will be there. Anyone who has already signed up will be right there in the new contact list. All of your existing key dates will have moved over to the event timeline, and so on and so forth.
All right. So that's our exciting plan. Friday night, he'll be doing that. I'll make sure, to turn on the training as well. So if any of you are like up on Saturday morning wanting to get rolling, you can. We'll already have bootcamp training live for you. But I imagine through the weekend, a lot of you will be busy with month-end stuff. And so it's kind of a soft launch. It'll be out there, but we're not really focusing on bootcamp until next week. So over the weekend, John and I will be monitoring things, of course, making sure everything is looking good. And, with as much testing as we did, we've been testing this thing for months. But if anything unexpected happens, like if one of you is, on a device that we hadn't tested or something like that comes up that we didn't anticipate, all you need to do is reach out, because we're super responsive and we're going to be just really keeping an eye on everything. We always do, but especially right after a big update like this. We're definitely committed to monitoring it and making sure to handle everything that comes up and that you guys have a great experience as we go live. So thank you, John, for all your work on this. He's such a good coworker. I married well, you guys. All right. So I'm going to wrap up here. I know we've gone a little long, but if you're still here with me, let's talk about what to expect in the coming days. So John talked about going live this Friday night, and then we'll have our boot camp. So boot camp is really a replacement for our old quick start course. So it is just like, here's your intro to everything Sparkhub can do. And it doesn't go into everything, but it kind of tells you, here's the foundation, and then here are some other topics you can explore when you're ready. So that might be right away for you if you're like gung-ho, give me all the training, or you might say that's for later, or wherever you fall there. We want to really make sure you master those fundamentals. So that's going to be in boot camp, and it's really suitable for new people and experienced users alike. So if you are already experienced in Sparkhub, boot camp is going to help you have a refresh on what you already know, and more importantly, understand all the new features and how to start leveraging them in your events. And we're also introducing Sparkspace. So Sparkspace is our brand new space that is our community. It's our training space, including where bootcamp will take place. So bootcamp is a course inside Sparkspace, and we have live events going on in Sparkspace. And that is actually opening up right now. Like you can already join Sparkspace. But bootcamp is next week. So like I said, the training is inside Sparkspace. It's all self-paced, okay? We're not like meeting every day for a training session. You do the training at your own pace. It's sort of structured to be over the course of 4 days, but if you want to binge it, you can binge it. And like I said, I'll go ahead and make it go live Saturday in case you want an early start. It includes workbooks and templates for you that we are putting the finishing touches on this week. And bootcamp being next week means you'll have extra community support from our team and from the cheer squad. And that includes some daily live calls, including some office hours and strategy chats. And there's an optional VIP upgrade to your bootcamp experience. So the VIP experience, I'm so excited about. We have some really great topics we're talking through. And these are all audio trainings that I did with these awesome ladies. So we have Heather Schaefer, Becky Launder, Rachel Perry, and Kara. We are going over things like branding, things like how do you continue engaging the customer after the party's over, make sure it doesn't fizzle out. Talking about marketing and having just a customer-centric storytelling center to our marketing, and talking about recruiting as well. And so, like I said, these are all audio trainings, because during bootcamp, when you do that self-paced training, it's a combination of some videos and reading some help articles and doing some work on your own. some like desk work. You'll be at your desk, you'll be at your computer. The VIP experience is what you can do when you're walking your dog or washing the dishes or off for a drive, so that you can complement what you're learning in boot camp with some really great inspiration in audio form. And the way to get the VIP experience, when I was first structuring this, I thought, this is something people can maybe purchase on top of just the free boot camp. But I thought, no, I want everyone to be able to get it for free. And it's all you have to do is share Sparkhub with friends, because everything's more fun with friends. And so when you share with friends, hey, I'm doing Sparkhub, we have this boot camp, join me, and a couple of them join using your affiliate code, that unlocks the VIP experience for you. So that will give you some really great content to complement what you're learning. And so starting today, if you're not already a member of Sparkhub, you can join at the link there, my.sparkhub.app/join. Use a referral code. Find a friend who is a Sparkhub user, maybe someone who invited you to this call. Use their code, because then you both save $5 and they get credit toward being a VIP. And then you can join Sparkspace. So when you log into Sparkhub, I think I scheduled this to happen already. You'll see a banner on the home screen inside the app that prompts you to join Sparkspace. And I'll try to make sure I've got an email going out to you as well. And so Sparkspace is in a different system than the Sparkhub app. And that's where you will be part of the community and learning space. And this week, even before we go live, even before you have your bootcamp training, you can already do some fun stuff. So we have some challenges inside Sparkspace. I'll have some fun prizes when you participate in challenges. Some of them are as simple as put up a post and introduce yourself. Okay, easy stuff. And one challenge there is an optional pre-work you can do, a super short video, and it's all about that customer order follow-up. So even before you can put your plan into Sparkhub 2.0, you can already be thinking and mapping out what you want that plan to be. What do you want your text to say? What do you want your to-dos to be? What do you want your timing to be? You can do some of that work already, starting right now in a worksheet that I give you, so that you have less to do next week. And you can just pop it right in to Sparkhub when the time comes. So that's one of our challenges. We have a few in there that you can already start doing and just finding your way around Sparkspace. And that gives me a few days to work out any kinks. If you're like having trouble logging into Sparkspace or anything's not clear, I will be right there with you. So this week you can also, we've got the challenges. You can also view the meetups that we'll be doing next week. We'll have 4 different live meetups that you can join, and you can mark your calendar. And also this week you can start inviting your friends to join you. So you'll see inside Sparkspace the challenges area where you can participate in those challenges. This is what it will look like in there. And the meetups area, we have some tech office hours, just like open Q&A with me. We have strategy chats where Trisha is teaming up with a couple of our cheerleaders for that. So that is all coming up next week, and you can go ahead and get in there and mark your calendar. So we have covered a lot, and I'm going to just take a little peek at the comments to see if I've missed anything. Mimi, hopefully that answered your question of how to access Sparkspace. You should see it when you log into Sparkhub with the banner at the top. It has the link for you to join Sparkspace. So if you log into Sparkhub, which is at my.sparkhub.app, you should be able to see how to get into Sparkspace. And when you join there using the same email that you have your Sparkhub account with, that will connect you to Sparkspace. And if it wasn't clear, Bootcamp is free. It's just for all Sparkhub users. And Sparkhub itself is $119 for the year or $12 a month. And that is after your free 30-day trial. All right, so if you're not seeing a banner inside my.sparkhub.app, I will, as soon as we hang up, I'll make sure I've turned that on. I thought I scheduled it for 2 p.m. today. Maybe I was the wrong time zone or something. So I'll just double check that and make sure to hook you up with that link to join Sparkspace, okay? So I'll communicate that right inside the app to you guys. All right. Anything else? Let's see. Okay, Cheryl had a great question. She already has a party scheduled to start May 2nd. Yeah, Cheryl, if you go ahead and put the event into Sparkhub, then it will convert to Sparkhub 2.0. Although once you have Sparkhub 2.0, you'll have more bells and whistles you can add to it. So it's really up to you if you want to go ahead and put it in then your host can already have access to the host portal, for instance, and start inviting people. You can get the guests in there. But then if you waited until until Saturday to build it, you would be able to build it in 2.0. So it's kind of up to you, but that data will convert to the new version. And then, yeah, I'm seeing some exciting messages, exciting comments here. You guys are pumped. You guys are loving Project Broadcast. So yeah, if I missed anything, or if you have another question come up later, like I said, you can always reach me at the little chat icon inside Sparkhub, either on our main website, sparkhub.app, which is more the marketing side of things, or inside the app at my.sparkhub.app. You can reach out there anytime. So I'll bring Trisha back up in case we have any just final thoughts for you guys, but I think that does it. I think we covered a lot. What do you think?
We did. We covered a lot. And all I would say is that if you are on the fence at all about doing boot camp, just do it, because it is going to be the first step that you need to feel like confident. It's the perfect combination of being able to do it at your own pace, but also having the hand holding, the let's do it together, the, accountability. I just know when I have a reason to do something sooner rather than later, because I know I'm going to be able to do it with other people, or I know that I'm going to have opportunities for all of these, bonus sessions with strategy or Q&As and, office hours. It's going to help me actually take that step, because I think that the biggest thing that is keeping anyone, like if you're someone who's like, oh, I was going to try Sparkhub, I never quite got started, or, you feel like you just didn't ever get going with it, this is going to be the thing that you need to just start moving forward. Because like Julie said, it's not everything. You're not going to be, watch the different videos and courses and training on every single Sparkhub feature, because there are so many features, which is a really good thing. This is what do you need to know to get started? And then you can build on that, because they're in the Learning Center. There's so much detailed training for all the small features, but this is going to get you started where you're like, oh, this isn't actually that big of a deal. I can do this in a couple of days, in just a short amount of time every day. And now I'm so happy that I've done it. I feel like it's just the boost you need, and it's free. And all these extra things that she's mentioning, they are only during this week, with access to having the extra strategy sessions, and having the Q&A in the office hours, and the VIP experience. The people that she mentioned, Becky Launder and Rachel Perry, and all four of them really are leaders in this space. Like, they have podcasts that are really highly listened to and rated, and they've been doing it for a long time, and they're experts in what they do. And Kara is an expert in social media, and everyone is someone that you want to hear from, and they've provided training that is not found anywhere else in what they do. So, that alone is really a reason to say, I'm just going to jump on this now. So it doesn't cost anything extra. It's just, if you are a Sparkhub user, you get access to this. And it's such an extra service to say, let's come alongside, let's do this together, that you really don't want to miss out on it. I'd say, just do it. Don't even think about it. Just thank me later. Just do it and thank me later.
Yeah. And the bootcamp training, I tried as much as I could to keep it concise. I mean, some of the videos are like 3 to 5 minutes long. I think I have a couple that are more like 15 to 20 when it's like going through a more detailed screen tutorial. You can turn me on double speed if you want to hear my voice sound weird. And so you'll get through that, and it's that plus reading some articles just so you can absorb everything. And there's a workbook, but it's not a huge time commitment compared to like all that you're going to be getting out of this, all of the power and just creative control over how you run your business. So I'm really excited to bring it to you guys. Like I said, we've just been so focused on like R&D side of it. And so actually like lifting my head up from that and saying, okay, we actually get to bring it to people. It's kind of surreal. It's been really, really great. So,
yeah. And maybe I would say, as far as the training, like I would do the pre-work that's available. Like if you're eager to get going, some of that free work that Julie mentioned that'll help you get through boot camp pretty quickly is what I would do now.
And the challenges.
Right, and the challenges in the space.
But yeah, if the Spark Hub or the Quick Start course that I have in the Learning Center now, at this point, so close to launch, I wouldn't do the old Quick Start course at this point because, you know, none of it's going to be inaccurate, but it's not going to be complete with everything we're building in now. And so at this point, I would focus on get in Sparkspace, do those challenges. On Saturday, you can start fresh with boot camp to learn the ropes. And for those of you who have already learned Old Spark Hub, like I said, things, you know, most of that is still going to apply. Anything new is going to just be improved. And then the boot camp will walk you through to see like, oh, here's how I can make my setup even better with these new features. All right. So you're not seeing the banner. I'll put the link straight in here. Just keep in mind, this link doesn't work for you if you sign up for Sparkspace with an email that's not a Sparkhub user. It's not going to join you to Sparkspace because it is just for users. So if you've already joined Sparkhub, then you click on that offers link, then that's how you can get into Sparkspace. But yeah, the banner should be turning on if you have to refresh a few times or something before you see it. Maybe that's why. But I went in and looked just now as Trisha was talking, and I just had a typo on the date. It happens to all of us. So it was going to go live tomorrow, but we want the banner now. So it should be up now or shortly. All right. Well, I can't wait to see you guys in Sparkspace. I'm going to go have a snack and chill a little bit. And then I'm just going to be monitoring any questions anyone has as you join Sparkspace and start introducing yourself in there. So let's take this party and bring it over into Sparkspace. And can't wait to connect with you all, especially through next week. All right. Bye, everybody.
Thanks. Bye.
See you.